Hello, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending upon what time of the day it is that you're watching this. Fingers crossed you are watching live on demand, live stream, even not live on demand. I've clearly been watching a little bit too much TV. But yep, welcome to UBSend Chatbot Deep Dive. If you're new to this series, it is a live stream where essentially we just kind of go through a single element or a single feature of the UBSend platform and kind of discuss a little bit of the theory behind it, how you can set it up yourself, and also at the same time as well as kind of showing things around. It's a really great series. It's a great way for you to see a little bit more of the platform, and if you are a UBSend user or a UBSend partner, this is a great way that you can kind of sit down, follow along at home, and kind of learn a little bit more at the platform, become a chatbot expert yourself. Okay, so that's my kind of slightly hurried interview opening all sorted up there. I'm afraid that I seem to be completely incapable of talking in normal words today for some reason. But thank you very much for joining. And also as well, if you do have any questions, feel free to throw them down into the questions section of the live stream. I kind of keep an eye on it as I'm going. I'll either answer the questions live on stream, or if any do slip past, I'll get back to you afterwards. And at the same time as well, if you are watching this on demand, so not currently live, just put a question down in the comments and we're going to be able to reply to any question that we get within our YouTube thing. So it doesn't matter how complex the question is, how big or small, we'll be able to get back to you and kind of sort out a quick little answer. Whilst I say that, let me just make sure I've actually got the live stream thing up on the other side of the screen so I can actually see if any questions are coming in. Otherwise I'm going to miss them all, and that's obviously not what we want to have happen. So let me just swing this across. And now that we've kind of got this typical housekeeping over and done and out of the way, let's kind of actually discuss what we are talking about today. And today we are talking about the spreadsheet upload feature. So UBSend is one of the few chatbot platforms that allow you to actually import a spreadsheet. And what you can do with this spreadsheet, it's pretty huge what you can do with a spreadsheet. There's a huge amount. And it's just a great way for businesses that do rely a lot on spreadsheets, whether it's for, say, HR use cases or maybe even customer service or sales use cases. We're going to be diving into a sales use case in specific during this live stream. It's a great way for you to kind of bring that spreadsheet to life. The data that's normally locked in there, you can kind of make it a little bit more, bring it to life so it's easier for your customers and yourself to access it. So as you can see here, I'm just in kind of a little demo account at the moment, which is why it's called the Pink Watering Can. It's a fake company that I've made up, and obviously, as you can see, my wonderful welcome message, hello generic page user. Obviously, I'm incredible when it comes to writing copy for chatbots, as you can see there, really interesting. But no, so we're discussing the spreadsheet import feature, and I think the best way for me to do this is I'm just going to run you through a very small and very brief conversation that I've made earlier, and then discuss with you how the spreadsheet import works, as well as also the different things that you can do with the spreadsheet. So let's just jump in, and I'm just going to run through a very basic conversation that I made earlier. So as you can see, I'm just putting in the word pricing here. This is just a trigger to start off this conversation. And what this conversation is it's going to be me engaging with the chatbot, and I'm going to be trying to purchase a specific item of clothing, and I'm going to be trying to purchase it in a specific color, and the chatbot's going to be able to tell me exactly how much that costs, and it's going to bring this information in from a spreadsheet. If you were thinking about this in, say, a HR setting, you can obviously use this for, say, employee holiday, benefits, any information that you have, or say like benefit schemes is a really popular one. We also know we have a lot of learning and development clients that they will say, not learning and development clients, sorry, but HR clients, and they will use this, and they have all a list of their different learning development options within the platform, within the spreadsheet, and then their HR and their employees are able to talk to the chatbot and get really up-to-date information on which different learning and development options there are available for them. Another nice HR use case for this, which I will link in the description of this video once we finish this live stream, is essentially using this to find qualified, that is the word I'm looking for, qualified employees for a role at your organisation. I know a few businesses that, I know obviously some businesses use their HRMS to kind of store employee data, other businesses use spreadsheets. This exact use case can be applied whether you're using a spreadsheet or your own HRMS, but what it does is you ask the chatbot a series of questions. Say, for example, I'm looking for a manager with marketing experience and experience of PPC and SEO. The chatbot's then going to be able to go through all of the data that you have on your employees and recommend a few suitable candidates from within the agency. So it's a great internal hiring use case. And as I mentioned, obviously you can either use this by pulling information from your HRMS by setting up an integration, or by using a spreadsheet integration, which is what we're looking at today. Anyway, back to the original use case that I'm going to be showing live on this stream. As you can see, this is basically just a typical sales use case. The chatbot's asking what colour am I interested in. So here I can kind of pick between a few colours. We'll just go with yellow there, and then we'll click send. And which item would we like? Would we like yellow shoes, yellow trousers, yellow shirts, or yellow jumpers? Yellow shoes, they're a little bit out there. I'm not sure if I've ever seen too many people wearing yellow shoes, so I'm going to go straight in with yellow shoes, and the chatbot's going to be able to tell me that that item will cost £22. So that's just a little overview of how the conversation works. And I believe we may just have a little quick question coming in. Oh, no, we're all good. It's just my internet being a little bit slow. Always trying to, a little bit of a hassle with the old working from home internet, trying to keep it going whilst also on the live stream. It does take its tax on it. But what we'll do now is we'll jump into the actual original spreadsheet from where the chatbot got this information of how it knew that yellow shoes cost exactly £22. So we'll have a little look here, and this is basically, as I mentioned, this is just an example, so it's a pretty basic spreadsheet just used for the sake of the example. But here we have, at the top row, we have all of our different, categories, and then in column A here, we've got red, blue, green, yellow, and black, and here we've got all the different prices that correspond to the different items. So looking at the use cases I was discussing earlier, you can imagine that this is, say, just a, imagine if this was just different employee names, and here you've got all of their different skill sets throughout the spreadsheet. So you can say have Dan, that's an expert in SEO, PPC, but not in social media marketing, something along those lines. But obviously as well, this is using the spreadsheet in sales examples or even in customer service examples. You might say have your customer data is currently in spreadsheets, say such as order statuses, different orders, order numbers, everything along those lines. So this is a really great way to kind of bring that information to life. So this is the spreadsheet that we have here, and what we do is essentially we upload this spreadsheet into the chatbot platform, and then do essentially what is very similar to a VLOOKUP, but with a few differences, and to pull that information from the chatbot, from the spreadsheet into the actual chatbot conversations. So how does that work? Well, let's just look into the example. So I'll just jump down into the pricing example that I made earlier. And during this conversation, this is how it pulls it through. So I think the best way for me to do this is I'm essentially going to run you through the actual conversation, starting with importing the spreadsheet, and then I'm going to run through the different steps within the conversation. So first of all, what we'll do is we'll head over into integrations. And actually, first of all, I think what we'll actually do, as you can see, this is the spreadsheet that I uploaded here earlier within the uploaded spreadsheet section of the platform. But what I'll actually do is I'm actually just going to jump back over into the conversation builder for this original conversation, because there's a couple of things I want to touch on first. So as you can see here, we have this the word color with this little lightning bolt. This is a variable. So when the chatbot asks the user which color are you interested in, and they respond with an answer such as blue, yellow, or red, it will save that variable. And then it will do the exact same for which item they'd like. So this will be shoes, trousers, jumpers, as you saw earlier. And then those variables are going to, as you can see, can tie in nicely with the different options that we have within the spreadsheet. So the chatbot's going to say, oh, okay, I see you are asking for a red, the color is red, and you're also asking for jumpers. And then it's going to basically perform similar to a VLOOKUP and a horizontal lookup. It's going to look for the color red and then also at the same time for the color trousers, and it's going to then find the corresponding answer. So again, that's kind of it, how it works. It's quite simple once you kind of know how it works, but obviously for the end user, it just works absolutely flawlessly and very streamlined experience. So what we'll do is we'll jump in. So when you are kind of importing a spreadsheet and you want to be able to pull those values from the spreadsheet into a chatbot conversation, the first thing that you're going to want to do is we just head over to settings and variables, is you're going to want to include your variables. So this is what we're first discussing. So your variables are typically going to be with a spreadsheet integration, all of the information that you have in row A, as well as all the information that you have, in column A there, as well as all the information that you have in row 1. So as you can see, all the different variables, they're going to be the different options that they can choose from. They can either choose from shoes, trousers, shirts, or jumpers. So that will be a variable. You're just going to want to know what item is it. And then another variable you'll have is which color is it in this example, or it might say, looking at the HR example that I was mentioning earlier, it might be the variable maybe the different, say, management experience combined with actual, say, you might have hard skills along the left, as well as also soft skills along the top there. So those will be your two variables, or something. It depends obviously a little bit on use by use. So once you've created those variables, you're then going to want to go and upload your integration, upload your spreadsheet, sorry. So uploading, really easy, literally just click upload, give it a name, and then upload the file, as I've done here earlier. And what you can do within USend with the spreadsheet integration is you can either obviously delete, pretty standard, download the spreadsheet. One thing that I should also mention as well is it should be, when you upload the spreadsheet, it should be as a CSV file, so don't upload it as, say, like a actual Microsoft spreadsheet XLSX, I believe the extension is. You want to upload it as a CSV. That just basically makes it easier for the platform to be able to read the information within it. And then once you've done that, so once you've actually uploaded your spreadsheet in, it will look like this. You're then going to want to add lookups. So a lookup is essentially how the chatbot finds the information. It is pretty much what the name says on the tin, and it looks up the information. So here you want to be telling the chatbot which specific, what should they actually be looking for? What should they be looking up? So how you do this is you just basically click add new lookup there, but I'm just going to run you through the example that we've already made. Obviously the name, pricing lookup, that's just internal use, and again the description, finding the price of a coloured item, again purely internal use just to kind of keep things nice and simple. And then you're going to get onto the conditions. And if you are accustomed to using any kind of conversation builder, or especially UBSense in particular, you'll be able to understand that this kind of these different conditions, this is very similar to actually triggering a conversation, or say triggering how somebody moves into a step. It's just basically a set of criteria, and once all of the boxes have been ticked within that criteria, a certain action will be taken. In this example, that action is going to be looking up a value from a spreadsheet. So what we're going to say for one of our lookups here is when the color equals color. So I realize as I say that out loud, it might not seem perfectly make sense at the current time being, but you see here, so on the left side, when color, if you look over into our spreadsheet, that is this on this column. So it's when that word, so if you imagine when the user puts in a word, so say for example red, blue, green or yellow, equals the same word that the user puts in. So very bad explanation there. Let me just start that from the top. So the color that we have here in the curly brackets is the variable that we were looking at creating earlier. So what I'm going to do actually, just to slightly save myself from the very bad explanation that I just did quickly at the start there, is I'm just going to also get that tab up on the side. So these are our variables that we made earlier, and as we mentioned, one of them was color. So what we're saying is when the user provides a value, which is equals when the user provides information which is stored as the variable color in the platform, which is this curly brackets here. So when this variable equals, and then we have the word color here, which is going to be the color on this spreadsheet, you're going to want to return the correct information. So this is essentially basically saying to the chatbot, when the user says a word and that word matches one of the words in this column, we're going to return the relevant information within the next column. So that's basically how in this section here, this first lookup is essentially telling the chatbot which row they need to look in out of column A. So we're saying to the chatbot, okay, the user said green, look for the word green in column A, and then from there we're going to start looking to the right and finding the next correct essentially the next correct row column for it to choose the number from. So is it going to be choosing from shoes, trousers, shirts or jumpers? At the moment, all we know is that all the chatbot knows is that it needs to be looking within the column within row 4 for green. I keep getting my columns and rows confused at the moment. Sorry about that. But yep, so just a quick summary there. When the user puts in a word which equals one of the words in this column, the chatbot's going to know to look in the row which matches that column. So for example, green. And from there, we now need to find out a way to tell the chatbot how to stop at a specific column there. So whether it should stop at shoes and return the value that corresponds with green shoes, which will be 17, or whether it should be trousers, whether it should be shirts, or whether it should be jumpers. So what we'll do is we'll dive into the conversation builder and show how you can actually use your particular conversation, use the actual information, the variables that we have been storing to tell the chatbot where to look next. So you've done your kind of vertical lookup there, it's found the word green. Now we need to essentially tell the chatbot how to do the horizontal lookup and find the corresponding information. So the way that we do that is by jumping into the conversation builder. All right, and now we'll head over. So as you can see here, this is when the user says what color are you interested in, and the user replies with a color. That's saved as the variable. We've just covered that section. So what next we ask the chatbot asks what item they would like, and then that variable is saved as the word item. So item obviously corresponds to shoes, trousers, shirts or jumpers. So here we basically said to the user, okay, we know you want a green something, but what is that something? Is it going to be shoes? Is it going to be trousers? Is it going to be shirts? Or is it going to be jumpers? Well, the way that we can tell the chatbot that is by using the variable. So once they've sent their message, it will correspond as a variable, and then it will be saved within the platform as that variable. So the chatbot now knows that answer. So coming up next is the final step, which is where the chatbot provides the cost and does the kind of little bit of maths and the two lookups at the same time. So here we have essentially a little bit of a nested variable going on here. So just the little section that I've highlighted here. So as you can see, it's kind of a little bit of nested. So this 0 essentially is kind of, it's a different, I'm not going to go into a huge amount of depth to it now, but it's essentially a little kind of way of working with integrations and working with code. The 0 essentially means return the first correct answer. So it's called 0 indexing. if you haven't used this before, it might look a little bit complicated, but literally all you need to know, and also as well you can see that my Grammarly here is telling me that the formatting of that's all wrong, but all you need to know is that 0 is basically just saying to the chatbot, return the first value that is correct, which is all we want to do in this example, because all we want the chatbot to do is find the word green, find the item that matches up to it, and then return the first number, which is within those two kind of corresponding, which is the corresponding information. So the way that you do that is essentially by, so you start curly brackets, and then we're going to put the word 0. Oop, everything's just flopped up for a second. We're going to create the word 0 dot, and then curly brackets again, and go with item. So this is saying find the first item that matches to the color that they've given. So if I just close this down, as you can see here, we've kind of got this, the word item is within its own section of curly brackets. So this is kind of nested. If I was to say, do this slightly differently, what I kind of like slightly opened up in a little bit of a different sense, what I might quickly do is I might just open up Grammarly just to kind of show you how this would look. So what we've said to the chatbot here is we've said 0 dot find our so 0 dot, which basically means call within the spreadsheet. I'll show you how you tell it to actually call the spreadsheet in a second. And then underneath that as well, we have item. So essentially, if you've used Excel formulas before, we've basically just nested the item variable within this lookup. So we're saying to the chatbot, okay, you need to perform a lookup. You need to find, you know you're looking for this specific color. Now within that, once you perform that VLOOKUP, you also now need to look horizontally for this item. So that's kind of why, if you look here, it kind of looks like there's quite a few different variables going on. But essentially, if I was to just space these out a little bit, you can see that it's actually just saying, okay, start the lookup. Okay, now once you've started that, also remember the variable, which is the item, and once you've done that, that's the end of the lookup, and return the actual correct item. It's something which sounds a little bit complicated when you're explaining it on a live stream, but honestly, once you've kind of done this once and seen how it works, it all makes a lot of sense and it's really simple to use. If I head over into the advanced settings, as you can see here, this is where we're kind of telling the chatbot what to actually do. So at the moment here, we've written the format, which is basically saying to the chatbot, start the lookup using the color variable. You also use the variable for the item so that you know exactly whereabouts in the spreadsheet you're looking, and return. We tell the chatbot to do that by using the advanced settings. So here we have use the spreadsheet values, and we're going to be using the spreadsheet that we uploaded, which is pricing, and we're going to use the lookup that we created, which is the pricing lookup. So this is how here the chatbot, once it sees the variable with a 0 dot, it says, okay, I need to use the pricing lookup, which if you recall when we were looking at it earlier, is how it tells the chatbot to find the color. So as soon as it sees the curly bracket 0 dot, and you've used this advanced settings, it's going to be saying to the chatbot's going to be saying, okay, I know I need to look inside this spreadsheet, and I also need to look, and if I just actually quickly get this up, for example, bear with me while my internet loads. So here, what we're saying to the chatbot with the advanced settings is we're saying to the chatbot, use the spreadsheet, and we want you to use this pricing spreadsheet, and we want to use the lookup pricing lookup. If we look at what this lookup is, so as you can see, we're now looking in the pricing spreadsheet. This lookup is how we tell the chatbot what the color is. So we're saying, okay, if their response color equals one of the colors in the spreadsheet, that means you're good to go. So which is essentially by saying, okay, if they say red, blue, green, or yellow, it means you're good to go. And then all we've done here is we've just thrown in a little extra item there. So, and all that item basically says is, okay, once you've done this lookup and you've found the color, you also now need to look across and find the corresponding item, as long as it matches what the user puts in. So this is basically, once the chatbot kind of goes through, all you're doing really is you're saying, okay, the user's saying, I want this color and I want this item. And then the chatbot is basically just being told to look across this way first, find the color, and then this way next and find the item and return the correct price within there. So it's actually really simple to set up, and this is a little bit more of a complicated use case for this, but there's quite a few different ones that you can do which will be a little bit simpler. But as I mentioned, really easy, really great to set up. And to be honest with you, the actual spreadsheet integration is a really powerful part of UBSend. As I mentioned, it's one of the few chatbot platforms that actually offer spreadsheet integrations. And I know a lot of businesses currently rely on spreadsheet integrations. Of course, as well, if you have all of your information, say your product prices, or say maybe your kind of employee data or your customer data saved in a HRMS or a CRM, or say like you might have a warehouse management system which has stock levels and pricing and everything in that. You don't need to, and you're like, oh, well, it's not in a spreadsheet, what do I do? Quite simple, in the integrations page, Here, all you need to do is just add a new integration, and say, for example, I might go along the lines and I might just call this something like WMS for Warehouse Management System. And then all you need to do is either, if we will have, I should also mention now, just before I dive into the actual integrations, we will have future Chatbot Deep Dives covering integrations in the near future, but at the same time as well, so I'm not going to go into a huge amount of depth, but the actual creating an integration, it's really simple. If you do have any, say, particular techie people on, within your business, they'll be able to do this really easy. This is kind of like developer 101 in many times, but also at the same time, at UBSM we are more than happy to kind of help you out setting up a few integrations if you need them to, if you need us to. So it's kind of completely up to you. But yeah, that's just kind of a little covering. If you don't actually use spreadsheets, but you do want to kind of have the same effect and provide the same service for your users, you can do the same just by setting up an integration. That was a pretty lightning tour of a very specific chatbot use case using an integration. I think what I'm going to do is just for one last quick time is I'm just going to run through the example conversation just to kind of give you a little showcase of what it is like. So essentially what you do is first of all you create the variables, which is how you tell the chatbot where to look. And once you've done that, you kind of create your skeleton of your conversation. So what's the color that you're interested in? Which item would you like? And then once you've done that, you tell the chatbot, okay, perfect. When you're finding the information, I want you to look using our specific lookup that we said. So I want you to do whatever the lookup says. And then if you're looking to also go across the column as well, so the lookup tells it to look in the first column, which you set up, and then by nesting the variable within the integration, within the kind of little variable there, if I can get back onto the right tab. So then by nesting the variable within that variable, you're going to be able to tell the chatbot to actually look across to the right as well and find the correct item in this specific use case. So that's kind of a really quick rundown of using spreadsheets within the chatbot platform. Basically as well, spreadsheets, they can be used in pretty much any message. So I can literally just head over into, say, this message content. All I need to do is just click advanced settings. And as you can see here, we've either got the option to use an API request response, which is the integrations bit that I was just talking about. Say if you have a warehouse management system, a CRM or a HRMS. Then we've also got use spreadsheet values or imported content. Imported content, that's for things like PDFs or content taken straight from our website. Or you've also got the use spreadsheet values there. So once you've done that, you can now start saying to the chatbot, for any variables that you have within this kind of message, just use the spreadsheet values, and I want you to look up inside this specific spreadsheet and look for this specific thing. So it's really easy to actually start involving this in all of your chatbot conversations. It only takes a few seconds to update and actually update a conversation to include this information. And the exact same goes for FAQs. You can use FAQs that pull through product information. So say, for example, you might have a FAQ which is, do you currently have, is X in stock? And then you can have a really quick, basically a really quick responding FAQ that just pulls out the information from the spreadsheet to see if it is in stock. So that kind of covers the majority of the different things that you can do with the spreadsheet integration. A few things to mention with spreadsheet integrations. As of currently at the moment in time, the chatbot cannot update the information within the spreadsheet, so it can only pull from, it can't actually push any information to it. So it can't, say, change the actual different, say, for example, you can't have a chatbot change the pricing, or it can't actually update any information in the spreadsheet itself. I believe that's something that our dev team are currently looking at. I think we might be updating this in the near future, so I might have to come back and revisit this video and upload a slightly new one which covers a few different bits of these spreadsheet integrations. But for the current time, it can't actually update it itself. As I also mentioned as well, you can kind of edit this name of the spreadsheet here, re-upload the file. So if any information in the spreadsheet changes, all you need to do is just basically just click edit and re-upload the file, and this won't break any of your actual conversations that you have going on. All it does is basically swap them over. And obviously as well, you can update the name there. Download the CSV if you want to, and also delete it if you're just kind of tidying up the platform. So that kind of covers the vast majority of the spreadsheet integration. I hope you've enjoyed this Chatbot Deep Dive, and I will see you all later. Thank you. Bye.